Welcome back to Let's Play Star Trek Online. I'm Pop-Tarts Ninja, and today we're responding to a distress call from the SS Boyce. The SS Boyce is a transport hauling medical supplies, and it's under attack by the Gorn, so we're going to go ahead and deal with that. Now, the Gorn have been surprisingly aggressive of late, and there's a reason for this, which we'll see in a bit. But first, I want to show off some of our new bridge officer abilities now that we've got a new ship. That little green probe I just shot out is the Scramble Sensors ability, which, as you can see, makes the Gorn think that their friends are their enemies, at least for a couple of seconds. Now, it does wear off pretty quick, but it does take the computer a couple of seconds to cycle targets again, as you can see, so it actually buys us quite a bit of time to start pounding away at something and to do as much damage as possible. Now, something else I'd like to mention is this little Nova, as I'm sure some of you have noticed, has a much higher turn speed than the Benedict Arnold did. The Von Braun is a very nimble little ship. It's actually nearly as quick and quick to turn as an escort would be at the same level. So, with the Gorn destroyed, we go ahead and help the SS Boyce. And then, once we've got them out of the way, we head out of the system because we're receiving a signal from a Vulcan transport in need of escort. So, see you there. And I left that in because it was funny. But yeah, as we warp into the system, we immediately come across a Vulcan transport, which again needs escort to the planet's surface. I don't know about you, but the planet's surface is right over there, so I don't see why they needed the help, at least not immediately. Of course, what's an escort mission without enemies? And so we immediately get jumped by Klingons. So I decide to show off the sensor probe again. Now again, Sensor Probe is a neat ability, partly just because of what it does. Enemies fighting each other is neat, but the other reason why it's fun is it usually gets them to break up their attack runs, so they start to turn to fight each other, and generally you can get side shots and back shots, which, as I mentioned, the Klingons don't seem to be as good at keeping their side and rear shields up as they are with their front shields, so... But yeah, our little Nova actually turns almost as quickly as a bird of prey, which means they can still beat us in a turn duel, but if you give them a little space, back off a little bit, you can usually come around and fire a torpedo into them before they know what's happening. Now you'll notice that bird of prey just used torpedo volley there. Torpedo volley's a great skill, so why don't we return the favor? And with all of the Klingon and Gorn ships in orbit destroyed, we head down to the surface of the planet, where there's a horde of rampaging Klingons and Gorn. And once we clear those out, we go ahead and beam down the medical team, the Vulcan medical team that's here to cure some sort of plague. I left this conversation in just in case you guys wanted to read it. It's an optional conversation, you don't have to have it, but you do get to learn why they're here and what they're up to. There's some sort of plague. The technique to cure it is something that was pioneered by Dr. McCoy. The Vulcan medical ship was attacked because it's carrying genetic resequencers and other things that can be used for genetic engineering, and so the Vulcans are afraid that the Gorn might be working to create some sort of biological weapon. So yep, we go ahead and beam back up to our ship, and we're going to try to track down where the Gorn are attacking from. Unfortunately, on the way there, we're interrupted by a distress call from the USS Eagle, which is under attack by Klingons. Once again, we really can't allow that to happen. Now, the Eagle is actually the Tier 2 science vessel. I think it looks kinda dumb, but, you know, not every ship can be a winner. And, of course, we quickly have to deal with the Klingons, and, again, scramble sensors proves pretty invaluable. I like it, just because it means they get some free hits on each other. And yep, I timed my torpedo just a little bit too early there, so I wasn't able to stop that guy from cloaking. Now, science vessels are actually cloak detectors within a certain range. If the Klingons were to stay close and remain cloaked, I'd actually be able to see them and shoot at them. But as you can see, that Klingon was about to cloak again, and it didn't go so well for him that time. So now it's just a case of clearing out his last friend, and then we have to beam down to the Eagle because Klingons have beamed themselves on board. Now that does mean that the Klingons were shooting at a ship that was full of their own men, which I find hilarious. So yeah, we go ahead and beam down to the USS Eagle to save Captain Ayers. Now we're not going to see this guy again, so you don't need to remember his name or anything, but his ship is crawling with Klingons, including this guy, the Klingon captain. The Klingon captain is another Dahar Master, and as you've seen previously, Dahar Masters are really, really tough, so it may seem unsportsmanlike to shoot him in the back, but I'm a Cardassian, and on top of that, one of the best things to do solo is to go ahead and pull the Klingon Dahar Masters so that your allies can get a clear shot at their back. Now here I try out Korvat's new cloaking device. It's actually not too great without, well, it's not too good without the ambush skill. The ambush skill lets you get bonus damage when you come out of a stealth state, but as you can see, it doesn't really matter. We take down the Klingon Dahar Master and have a chat with the captain. Now the captain, he's not very bright. He's also a bit of a coward. He hid in the shuttle while his crew was being slaughtered. And he also believes that the Gorn and Klingons are working on making some sort of biological weapon. So that would, since that would be bad, we'd better go find out some more information and see what they're really up to. So, yep, hid in the shuttle, because he's a coward. He's a live coward, though, which is more than I can say for some of the people we've encountered, and he makes that very point himself. So, yep, we go ahead and beam back up to the Von Braun. Where we immediately head out to a research facility nearby that the Gorn are attacking. We've been on the defensive this whole time, just responding to one crisis after another. So why don't we go ahead, take out this Gorn cruiser, and I wanted to leave this fight in just because there was an interesting moment with the Gorn's mines. Now, as you can see, our turn speed, even at full speed, is a lot faster than the old Benedict Arnold was, even at half speed, which is nice. And you'll also notice when I pop off the scramble sensors here, the Gorn mines see me, go after me, and actually can't hit me because of the scramble sensors. If I wanted to, I could waste the time to kill all of them, or try to get out of their range quickly before they reactivate. But, you know, they're mines, they're not that big a threat. my shields are still up. So, and under our onslaught, the Gorn ship just isn't going to last very long. Now you do notice the bigger ships have gotten quite a bit tougher since you've last seen them. They do take quite a bit more firepower to kill, and that's going to be a running theme from now on. Big ships are tough, especially when they're bigger than you. But yeah, with the Gorn in orbit destroyed, we go ahead and beam down to the research facility to find out what's really going on. And as you can see, it's crawling with more Klingons and Gorn. But yep, after clearing them out, we go ahead and have a chat with the lead GOOORRRNNN, which is just a fancy way to say doctor. Fancy and old-fashioned way, I should say. And yeah, it turns out everything the Klingons have stolen so far is to make augments. Now, that's bizarre because the Klingon already tried augmenting themselves. It's why they had no forehead ridges back in the original Star Trek. At least that's the official excuse. Augmentation in Klingons is really dangerous. They either go insane or die. And they do die eventually and really early, so it turned their race into a bunch of reckless sociopaths for a long time. And eventually the Klingons cured themselves of the augmentation virus, but no one's really sure how. So if Klingons are doing that to themselves again, we might be in real trouble. So we go ahead and beam back up to the Von Braun, just to see if we can find out, well, where the Klingons are coming from at this point. And as we head back up, we immediately find ourselves under attack by a new ship, something you haven't seen before. Captain Kim Tak of the Vorcha, the IKS Dog, is trying to kick our ass. Now we do start directly in front of the Vorcha, and that's really a bad place to be, so we're going to use our superior mobility to not be directly in front of them. Which, since we can outturn this Klingon Vorcha, they really have no recourse but to let us stay behind them where they're less dangerous. Now, from behind, the Vorcha can't use its heavy cannons. It's stuck with a single disruptor bank and a single torpedo, which means we actually have a firepower advantage. From the front, this thing would quickly chew through our shields, and we'd take a torpedo volley straight to the hull. So it's always good to know what your enemies are capable of, because some ships you don't want to be behind, and some ships it doesn't matter. But we quickly disable the IKS Doug and go ahead and scan it. Now we might need to beam down to find the real information, because we've had a lot of ground missions, though. The Klingons go ahead and try to ram us, which really doesn't work too well because we're right next to them, and they don't have the time to build up enough speed. Which, you'd think since the Vorcha's got a lot more mass, it'd do a lot more damage, but hey, they're Klingons, and they weren't moving very fast. So, with them destroyed, we now know where we need to go, so we're gonna go ahead and head out of here. See you next time.